If you've been looking for someone to tell you exactly what you need to do to get started, that's what I'm here to do today. You're over 35, you're busy, you're feeling heavier, more fatigued, but inspired to reinvent yourself this year. If you've been scrolling Instagram, you're seeing metabolism, macros, gut health, hormones, and it's just making you want to quit before you even start. I get it. But here's the truth. It doesn't have to be that complicated. This episode is part 2 of the simple steps I'd take if I were starting over in my late 30s so you can stop overthinking and finally make some progress. No fluff, no overwhelm, just what actually works. If you haven't listened to part 1, it's super quick and to the point, and I'd go back and listen to it. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'll link it below. In that episode, I went over Pillar 1, your fit mind, and Pillar 2, stress and routine assessment. Pillar number 3 is the main driver on a fitness and health journey, and that's nutrition. As a certified personal trainer who has logged over 10,000 hours actually on my feet in a gym training people, I can tell you this with confidence, it's not the workouts, it's the food. Now, it might sound a little shocking because so many of us were taught to burn more and eat less. I lived like that for years. But if you're in your late 30s or 40s, I'm guessing you noticed the same things my clients have. You can't just cut calories or do lots of cardio and actually expect to feel good or even keep the body fat off long term. Here's the shift. What matters now is not just how much you eat, but what you eat and what balance. What worked at 25 isn't the same at over 35. Back then, I was all in on the IIFYM movement, if it fits your macros. Might as well have been if it fits your mouth. I was over here watching people on Instagram getting shredded, eating Pop-Tarts. So my mind was blown, but I was overjoyed when I realized I could go to Trader Joe's and get all my favorite seasonal treats and fit them into my daily macro targets and watch the scale drop. And yeah, it technically worked. But now, I don't want just fast fat loss. I want to feel good. I want predictable energy. I want glowing skin. I want a healthy gut because that means I can achieve optimized hormones. And I want the kind of strength that lets me chase my kids and lead a business. As I approach 40 and beyond, food quality makes a big difference when it comes to symptoms. Think digestive symptoms in particular, but also hormonal symptoms and how we feel from a health perspective. And that's why I push my clients to think bougie, one of my favorite words. When you picture fueling your body, think premium. I tell my clients all the time, would you pour cheap gas into a luxury car and expect it to run like a dream? Your body is so much more valuable than a car. Why would we give it fuel that leaves us running on fumes? Here's the part most women miss. It's not about cutting everything you love out. It's about adding in abundance, more high quality single ingredient foods that actually come from the earth or once lived. This is commonly called the crowding out method. Instead of obsessing over what to remove, just keep adding the good stuff in. High quality protein. Our protein needs increase with age, and ironically, we become more protein resistant. This is going to be something that you really want to pay attention to if you're someone that primarily seeks to get their protein from plant-based sources. You're going to need a lot more. For example, if I were trying to get a good serving of protein from a whey-based protein shake versus a pea-based protein shake, I would actually add 10 grams of protein to the pea-based protein shake to get the same amount of absorption. Healthy fats is super important, which basically means unsaturated fats. You will get saturated fats if you're eating animal-based proteins, and that's totally fine. We're just focusing on adding the unsaturated fats. We're thinking avocados, extra virgin olive oil, ideally cold pressed, nuts, seeds, etc. Add more colorful vegetables, add more fibrous foods. You could challenge yourself to go for 40 different types of whole foods per week. Helps fuel all the different types of bacteria in your gut. Pretty soon, the cravings, the bloating, the brain fog will be diminished. They all start to fade. And if they don't, that's when we do a deep dive. I just want to encourage you, you can really start very simple, very broad. For our clients, we follow a process where we first work on boosting the metabolism so they require more food at maintenance. We start to get more insulin sensitivity. We nourish the adrenals and the thyroid. We work on gut health a little bit with food variety, and potentially, if there are more symptoms, we'll actually do some gut work. But initially, not everybody needs that level of detail. If the body is slower to respond, then we've got tools in our toolbox to pull out, and that's a great time to then check labs. You don't necessarily have to, and start to go more into like what's missing here, looking at deficiencies. We can make a lot of assumptions based off biofeedback, which is your body's signs and symptoms though, and your lifestyle. Think of this as hormone-friendly eating. It's as simple as protein at every meal for muscle and fullness, generally 30 grams or more, is the aim at each meal. There are exceptions to everything, so I hesitate to give blanket recommendations, so please do not take this as gospel truth for you. Also, if your protein is really low, just bring it up gradually. Healthy fats for energy and cravings. When overall fat intake gets too low, your hormones will suffer. Cholesterol is king when it comes to making hormones. And fiber for gut health. Happy hormones. Fiber is another to slowly increase so you don't have any undesirable symptoms as you adjust. Most Americans get like 10 grams of fiber per day, and the USDA rec is 25 grams or above for women, or 14 grams per 1,000 calories consumed. I actually find that I do better closer to 30, 35 grams per day. You might find something different, but just open up your awareness to it. If this is all new to you, don't get lost in the sauce, all about the details like the grams of everything, just bougie. That's truly step one. Just start fueling yourself with better quality food. And spoiler alert, you can still have the bread, the pizza, the birthday cake remix at Cold Stone's Creamery. It's my favorite. I do not believe in a nutrition plan that gives that up forever. I'm not anti-convenience and processed foods. I surely have my fair share of them, but these things are just part of my life, not the whole show. Last quick point on this. Let's say you're keeping track of your macronutrient intake, which is your protein, carbohydrate, and fat intake, and you're looking at the grams per day, and you're like, V, how much of each? There are factors that go into making this decision for yourself, and in my opinion, there's utility in every single style of eating for a result. So I actually don't hate on any kind of eating for a period of time. So I'm thinking like if you were someone that's loving keto or carnivore or various types of fasting, they all can serve a purpose for a period of time. Essentially, everything can work until it doesn't. The body is so adaptive and things can be helpful until they're not, if you catch my drift. Pro-adaptive, as in good for you, until they're maladaptive, as in not working anymore. So the percentage of your diet that is made up of carbs versus fats will vary based off of your normal, your season of life, your bio-individuality, your preferences, where you're at in your journey, your insulin sensitivity, your goals, your activity level, all these different things. So don't just think that like I can go to a calculator. Actually assess yourself where you are first. Because for example, someone who is trying to, say, get off thyroid medication and needs to deal with a lot of deep-rooted inflammation is not the same as someone who's preparing their bodies for a healthy pregnancy and wants to boost progesterone levels. There are even times when lower protein for a period of time can be useful. So if anyone on the internet tells you there is one way to eat, I would slowly back away from them. That is just not true. Now let's move to pillar 4, my favorite, exercise. And I know this one hits hard because so many of us were raised to believe you just got to burn more, you got to get sweaty, burn as many calories as possible, and more is better. But I'm here to tell you, more is not better. Better is better. In fact, for many women I work with, myself included, doing less better gets them further. Here's why. Exercise is stress. Your life is full of stress. It's kind of like the sign that we're alive when we have it. Your body keeps the score. So if you're stressed to the max, running on fumes, and you pile on 5 HIIT classes a week, your body is going to protect you by holding on to fat, not burning it. And that's where we enter the burnout cycle. I've been there. After my second baby, I thought I could just hit the gas and train harder. Instead, my bloating got worse. I looked softer. My sleep got worse. My mood got worse. And then the light bulb moment hit. I don't need to burn myself out. I need to build myself back up. Exercise is like Goldilocks. There is a just right that you're looking for. And this ties back into your stress bucket, which I mentioned on the part 1 of this series. Exercise is a stressor, a good one, that we want our bodies to adapt to, but too much of anything can be maladaptive and no longer help us as well. We're breaking ourselves down faster than we can build back up. And that is not the way to build your best body. The real priority after 35 is building muscle. Full stop. You will never regret getting stronger. Muscle is your secret weapon. It boosts metabolism, it keeps you insulin sensitive, it supports your hormones, makes you look toned, it even interfaces with your immune system, and it's like an armor against disease. Muscle is an organ. I know, I was surprised to find that out too. The grim fact is that women are losing 3 to 5% of their muscle mass every decade after 30 if they are not working on keeping it. Inactive people obviously will lose faster. And with that, you're missing out on so many health benefits besides the obvious change in aesthetics and firmness of your body. So how do we keep it and how do we get more? 2 things: progressive overload from weight training and protein. It really is that simple. But here are the not so easy parts. Your protein requirements increase with age, as I mentioned before, and your muscle building hormones decrease with age. So we have to be so intentional about this. Here's where we lose people. It takes repetition. Women get bored. We hop from workout to workout, bar to boot camp, thinking we need constant change, but random workouts give random results. Let me tell you, there's a big difference between workouts and a skillfully crafted program that follows phases to give you a result. You can just get workouts all over the internet, right? But having a program that's built for you to see a result is a different story. So once you're on a program, or say you're creating your own program, the magic is in mastering the basics. That's what lifelong athletes do. Squats, which means sitting down and standing up. Deadlifts, which is just picking things up. Presses, pushing things away. Rows, pulling things towards you. Carries, you do this every time you pick up a kid or carry some groceries. And when you keep showing up for these basics week after week, the progress compounds. Here's what I always say to my clients. Would you rather be entertained, or would you rather it look like you actually work out? And just like with my disclaimer about if someone were to tell you there's one way to eat and one correct way to split your macros, there is also no one way to have perfect form for every exercise. I am huge on form because I have a bachelor's in dance and I love the body and alignment and technique, but different bodies do well with different little tweaks to their form. For example, my squat stance is, as a shorty, I'm 5'1" barely, it's gonna look different than someone with a different height and different length torso and different hip socket depth as me. And that's good news. You can stop scouring the internet and searching for the one thing, like I must find the one best way. Girl, you're a unique snowflake. Embrace the best way for you. How does it feel good on your body? Yes, use the skeleton of what form looks like and then adjust things a little bit as needed so you feel it in the right places and you can get that mind-muscle connection and really push for progressive overload, which requires you to push pretty dang hard. Okay, so recap time. Weight loss and health over 30 are not about grinding harder. Praise the Lord. They're about getting smarter. Dial in your mindset, assess your stress, upgrade your nutrition with high-quality foods that support your hormones, strength train to build muscle and protect your metabolism. Start simple, start small, but just start. Because this is how you're going to go from constantly restarting to never stopping.